Steph. What's that?
I just saw it's on a delay. I just saw that video you were talking about that you pulled up.
Oh yeah.
Oh
What the
my
heck?
god.
He's like a little kid. I think that's him. That's the Stephon Castle, I think. Unfortunately, he's wearing a LeBron jersey. I don't know what that's about.
Oh man.
Yeah, unless that's him. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Pretty cool stuff. Anyways, nonetheless, so here we go. So I'll give you my overall thoughts about Stephon Castle, and then I'll ask you, obviously, what you think. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think that he has very high basketball IQ. I feel like him at his worst, like floor-wise, is he's a rotational player that fits in just about any system just because he plays the right way. I think his biggest highlight is defense. He can finish at the rim fairly well, but defense is what I'm really leaning on. Like, this is the one thing that the Spurs need is a defensive lock wing, and he's one that you definitely don't want to switch on. Like how I said, Reed Shepherd, I think, is a switching nightmare. I don't think that that's the case with Castle. You don't want him to be switched on you. So great hands, good defender, plays the right way, and he's more than likely, at least in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, he's probably going to be one of those players that, like, statistic-wise, it won't show up how good he actually is at times. You know, I have a bias towards guys like Derek White, you know, and he gave me those type of vibes. Just not saying, you know, 1-to-1, obviously, but he does give me those vibes as far as a guy who knows how to play the game the right way, has that great defense, and you can fit him in, and maybe eventually could be. I think he's more of a combo guard, but maybe eventually could be a point guard. And if the Spurs didn't say, hey, screw it, we're not going to do Darius Garland, we're going to take our shot at Castle and start filling up around it, I would not be that upset by that at all. I feel like at worst, he will be in the rotation and he will be effective at worst. But as far as statistic wise, I know people will bring up 3-point shooting. I think he has really good form, so you can work with that. It's not like a situation with Jeremy Sohan where Jeremy's mechanics, and they're still pretty off. It takes a little bit more work, but he's even gotten much better. Now he's like at 30%. But Stephon Castle, I think his mechanics are better. Going to the San Antonio Spurs, they'll work on that. I think that'll be fine. And free throw percentage, nearly 76%. I mean, it's obvious that he can shoot the ball. So, and he's a champion, right? He's a winner. So, did everything for his team to win that game versus Purdue, right? So.
Yeah,
did a great job. So all right. So what are your thoughts? I know you love Castle. You got me on Castle a long time ago. Oh no, is he gone again? Oh no, guys, we lost him again. No. Oh wait, you're muted. You're muted. No. We lost Swish Hill again, guys. We lost him again. I think he'll be back, though. I thought I didn't know for Castro. Oh, crap. Did I put Castro? I didn't put Castro. There you go. Can you? Oh, crap. He's muted again. Swish, can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
This might sound weird because I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it's screwing up, so I just joined on my phone.
Oh, that's cool. So it actually sounds like even more clear, believe it or not.
Oh, well, that's disturbing. That was a $300 microphone I was talking on. Oh, shit.
All right, so what are your thoughts on... you heard everything I said, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, what are your thoughts on Castle?
Yes, I mean, look, it's funny to me how people have come around on Castle so quickly when the Spurs express interest, because I was getting absolutely shat on Twitter back in like December and November when I kept saying Castle was my favorite prospect in this whole draft.
Yeah.
And I still stand by it. I love him as a prospect. Like I said, I'm not sure quite yet with him being a point guard, just because we haven't seen him do that at a higher level. We've only seen that in high school, so I'd have to see a bit more of that. At least in high school, though, and I'll probably get roasted for saying this, but because he's nowhere near the same type of player, but he's one of those guys who's more like smooth than athletic or explosive, but he has that kind of like herky-jerky motion to his changes of direction that kind of reminds me of how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is in that respect, just with those big guards and being quick. I think his shot can come around. I don't think he's ever going to be like this crazy elite pull-up shooter.
Yeah.
But I mean, he shot 76% from the free throw line. So like the mechanics are there, 54% from two and all that. So I think he can get there. Really, the thing with him, I think, is just hesitation to take the shots. A lot of times he'd be open and he'd just kind of stand there and think about it too much, and then either drive straight at a guy or try to pass and turn it over.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just be confident, just do it. When he rose up with confidence, he'd knock it down.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I still don't know about the point guard thing, just because he's done so well as a wing. As an off guard, he kind of reminds me of Jimmy Butler a bit, just with his defense. I mean, his defense is next tier, and he can handle the ball. So yeah, maybe he could be the point guard. Yeah, I mean, he's got poise, he's got prowess. Guys are going to dare him to shoot it at the start. So he's got to work on the confidence and ironing that out there. But I mean, he's pretty good at finding guys off the bounce. He's good at running the pick and roll there. He's just one of those tweener guys where you don't quite know which position he's going to be in. But I would be thrilled if we took him. I still think, I mean, granted, we'd be looking at him at 4. I think he's a top 4 prospect in this draft easily.
Yeah. He has super high basketball IQ. I actually find it pretty promising. With that article basically stating like you mentioned earlier, that he's actively avoiding teams that have starting point guards already. I think that he really believes in his abilities there. Everything that I've seen from him, I know some people have mentioned like, oh, he's kind of a connector. I don't think he's that at all. I feel like he initiates a lot of the offense and he finds the right guy. Like I said, I just think that I think if no one has seen him at all and the Spurs draft him and they don't know anything about him, they'll think, oh, okay, that's great. These stats don't look that great. But he's just one of those guys, very Spursy, like, where it's not about the stats. We bring it up all the time with Sohan, where, it seems like I'm just crazy. I'm being gaslit like every other day, trying to tell me that so not everybody, it's a very small percentage, but trying to tell me that Sohan isn't a great defender. And you have to look at the advanced analytics just to see that, but also the eye test shows you that. And I think that Castle also just plays the right way. Like he will fit right in very quickly, and would be an immediate upgrade at that spot. Actually, now that I think about it, if you grab Castle, is it inevitable that you put him at 1? He's not taking Devin Vassell's spot. I don't know if I would put him at 3.
I think what probably happens is I think Devin slides to small forward, Castle starts as a 2, and then gets minutes as like a backup point guard to start. And then if he's good enough at that, you can look at starting him at the point, sure. Okay. But I think you look to tap into both sides of his skill set, both off ball and on ball. And that's what's most intriguing about him. And not that saying he's not a point guard is an insult. I mean, Jimmy Butler's not a point guard, but he gets to handle the ball a lot too. But I think you try to tap into both sides. And I think, we're talking about Sohan. I think Castle being on the team immediately makes it better for Sohan. Obviously, there's going to be a spacing issue that people look at, but now if he's on the team, you don't have to have Sohan guarding guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah, so Sohan's a good defender, but he shouldn't have to be matched up against guards like he has been.
Actually, I actually agree with I give up 12. He said Devin at small forward. Yeah, I would hate that too.
I don't like Devin at small forward either. I just don't see any other way they do it.
Yeah.
It just feels weird to immediately throw Castle at the 1.
That's the only thing I can think of, man.
Yeah, especially with how. And now, granted, they could throw Castle at the 3 and try that out. But yeah, I just not granted. I don't know. It could be anything. I mean, hell, Pop threw Sohan at point guard last year, so yeah. Lord knows they could throw him at the 1 and just try it. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not a fan of Devin at the small forward either. We've tried that. I think he's better as a shooting guard, but I just don't know how they do it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things. I personally would. I mean, Pop wouldn't listen to me, but I would just go ahead and plug him into that point guard. I feel like if you get Castle, then that's me making the assumption that you didn't go after Garland and you didn't get Dilly, which I'm completely comfortable with. Yeah, at that point, I think that you just need to just start him at point and see if he can do it. I mean, he believes in his abilities. I mean, he's going to struggle, obviously, being a rookie, but I think also, dude, that's kind of the benefit of having Wemby, right? Like, because I feel like he makes, even if you're not the best passer in the world right now, and you have to, grow from that, he will bring out the best in you. He will make you look good no matter what. So I think that the growing pains won't be as bad because you're next to Wemby. At least that's just how I view it. But like you said, the spacing issue could be something as well. But that's assuming Sohan doesn't take a huge leap. That he already has taken a big leap, but he can only go up from here. So I don't know. I'm with it though. I'm with it. So yeah, I guess
I think what a lot of people don't want to hear is, like you said, even if he comes in and he looks like a good point guard, he's still going to struggle because young guards do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anyone watched Scoot Henderson a lot early in the season. He struggled hard, and he's absolutely just a very gifted player who's going to be very good. Mm-hmm. He started picking it up towards the end of the year, but he was not good to start the season. We saw low field goal percentage, bad turnovers, lapses defensively and offensively, and we're going to see that, and that's okay. It happens. They're young players, and especially young guards. That is the hardest position to pick up in the NBA.
Also, and this is really random, but I just thought about this with the idea that he comes in and plays point. Not to say we don't have a spot for Blake Wesley, because I really do like Blake Wesley. But man, I've kind of given up on the idea that he'll be a point. I just don't think he'll be a point.
I don't think he's a point. And I don't think Blake views himself as a point either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think right now it's just been the lack of having that point guard that's kind of forced him to be there. Same way we threw Jeremy in there, and Jeremy said himself he didn't view himself as a point guard. He was just making do. If Wesley stays with the team, I think he's definitely more of a 2 guard.
Yeah. Somebody said, but Wemby is the difference. Scoot didn't have Wemby. Castle will. I think Castle.
Yeah, but Castle's also not as skilled as Scoot is. I mean, I definitely agree. It'll make it easier having a big man of that caliber, but you're still going to see some struggles. It happens with every young guard in the league.
One thing we need to actually emphasize, because this does need to be emphasized. He's a winner, man. He's a winner. He played phenomenal defense, through and through. He plays winning basketball. This Illinois, did I miss this game? They won by, I think I missed this game. They won by more than 20 points. He had 2 points, and
they went on like a 30-0 run at one point in that game.
Because he only played 23 minutes, so that's a weird one. That one's an outlier right there. That's a weird one. But he finished off strong, 21 points in the next game, 33% from 3. And then the game after that to win it all, 15 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. But like I said, I don't think it's going to show up in the stats with this guy. Not a lot. He's just not that type of player. I think he'll have these games where he'll go off, but he seems like a pass. I don't know. You can tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. Is he kind of a pass first? I've always seen him kind of a, hey, I'm getting my teammates involved type of player. But
I mean, I wouldn't say he's pass first. In high school, he was very much a scoring guard. He's one of those kind of tweener combo guys, but I mean, he is a good passer.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who's ever played with him says he's a phenomenal passer. So I don't think there's any lack of ability there.
Yeah, he can make every single pass too. I've seen some really impressive backdoor passes. I've seen some really impressive skip passes. So he can make just about any pass. And then obviously a bunch of alley-oops to who was it? Number 2?
Yeah, Tristan Newton.
Yeah, Tristan Newton. Yeah, really good stuff.
Who worked out for the Spurs, by the way. That was the guy that posted on his Instagram page, and everyone was trying to say it was Darius Garland.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, guys, that's not Darius Garland. Okay, cool. So let's see what the poll says here. We got nearly 100 people. Yeah, well, I said nearly. It's like 81. In the poll, I said, would you take Castle at 4? And we have 77% of people said yes. 22% said no. So everybody's pretty high on Castle right now.
That might be the biggest differential we had all through there with the yes and no's.
Yeah, the other ones were like 68%. Or I wonder the people that said no. I wonder what their mind state is on that. I did some polls on Twitter. I don't know if I showed you this, but I did some polls on Twitter, and I did Ron Holland or Stephon Castle. But I should have known better. But it was 574 votes. 74% there said Castle, so he's up there. I think it's the mixture of yes, he is a great player, but also he's getting a lot of love with the media right now.
Yeah, I wonder where people's heads would be on him if we hadn't been interested. Like I said, it was interesting. A lot of people were really not liking when I was kind of giving him love back in the winter there when I was watching him play. But yeah, he's kind of been my favorite the whole year there. Obviously, probably not the best prospect in the draft, but I think he's a really good fit and just a really good player.
Yeah, Bleacher Report has the Hornets taking him at 6, which I guess I can see because they don't have a definitive point guard. I guess I can see that. I don't know. But yeah, all right. Good stuff.